Hello, I'm Boris Chernyshev, head of Moscow MEG Center. In probabilistic environment, people not only exploit advantageous high payoff options, but also often explore risky disadvantageous options on some trials. Such exploratory behavior is believed to be information seeking. The acquired knowledge may bring increased payoffs in future. It has been suggested that and exploratory decision-making involves a conflict between gaining reward and gaining information. We aimed to investigate psychophysiological mechanisms of directed exploration. Specifically, we aimed to investigate exploratory choices committed spontaneously, rather than triggered by any experimental manipulations. In the current study, participants learned by trial and error to choose the more advantageous stimulus. Thus, they acquired and used the utility model. We hypothesized that during directed exploration, spontaneously committed exploratory choices will involve a conflict between the utility model and the information-seeking drive. And the corresponding internal state will evolve on a slower time scale, and thus it will be detectable on non-exploratory trials preceding and following the actual exploratory choice. We used a two-alternative probabilistic gambling task. Participants made their choices between the two stimuli that differed in reward probabilities. Feedback was presented for 500 milliseconds after a delay of 1 second. We distinguish two conditions, no learning and after learning. No learning, trials from experimental blocks during which participants failed to learn and thus couldn't use any appropriate utility model. After learning, during such trials, participants could use the utility model they acquired. We used within subject comparisons for all the analysis in this study. First, we will consider response times. After learning, we found an increase in response time for exploratory low payoff choices compared with no learning, and decrease in response time for exploitatory high payoff choices for after learning condition compared with no learning condition. During after learning condition, we observed a very strong response time slowing for exploratory low payoff choices compared with exploitatory high payoff choices. And also a smaller yet highly significant response time slowing on non-exploratory trials immediately preceding and immediately following the exploratory choice. During no learning condition, no such effects were present. We interpret such response slowing in after learning condition as an index of the conflict during decision-making, both for exploratory trials themselves and also for adjacent non-exploratory trials. In order to analyze pupil size data, we first needed to investigate the time courses of the pupil size. As you can see, the difference between choice types, such as between exploratory and exploitatory choices here, was rather prolonged. It started a little before the response and persisted throughout the whole trial. Statistical significance is shown in pink shading. The same pattern was observed for non-exploratory trials preceding and following the exploratory trials. Thus, we used this time interval for further analysis. For the pupil size, we revealed the pattern of results virtually identical to that for the response time. After learning, pupil size was increased for exploratory low payoff choices compared with no learning. And it was decreased for exploitatory high payoff choices. Again, you can see a highly significant increase for both exploratory low payoff choices and adjacent non-exploratory choices. And again, a flat graph for no learning condition. We interpret such pupil dilation as an index of conflict. Again, both for exploratory trials themselves and also for adjacent non-exploratory trials. Thus, using the data presented that included analysis of response time and pupil size, we conclude that directed exploration committed spontaneously involves a conflict, and a corresponding internal state evolves on a slower time scale and affects trials immediately preceding and immediately following the actual exploratory choice. Thank you.